Hey everyone, what's up? Venruki here. And with the start of Season 1 on Tuesday, for all my Frost Mage friends, because I get this question quite a bit, talking about talents and what build I'm going to be playing and what are the best builds for a Frost Mage, I decided to make this really comprehensive video. So this is a video where I'm basically going to go over all the talents, why I think they're good, if you should pick them, are they worth using, when you should use them, and then I have a bunch of different builds prepared that I'm going to show you for different situations. So if you're playing healer DPS in 2s, if you're playing double DPS in 2s, if you want to play 3s, what style of 3s comp are you playing? Like, are you going to play 5s? And I have a bunch of different ideas for all those builds. So I thought about this a lot. I'm playing the game for a really, really long time, talked to a lot of other top mages, bounced ideas off of them, and I feel like, I have a pretty good idea of what is kind of the best. And I figured I'd share it with you guys. And this is not one of those videos where it's like, I'm just going to show you what's the best. I want you to actually understand it because I feel like a lot of people don't actually understand how these talents work. And I think once you do kind of get it, you'll be able to make a build that kind of fits your own play style, and it will be kind of more custom tailored to you. So we'll start in the Frost tree. You have some different talents here. Let me move this. I want you to be able to read the tooltip. Okay, that looks good. All right, so I'm going to first go over what I consider the mandatory talents. So these are the talents that if you're playing the Frost Mage kit right, you basically always want to get, like without exception, in PvP. Remember, this is PvP specific, arena specific as well. But we can kind of go through the different talents. Frost Warding increases the armor and resistance given by your Frost armor and Ice armor by 15%. In addition, gives your Frost Ward 10% chance to reflect Frost spells. So this isn't, this is more of like a dueling talent. So if I was in like a dueling tournament and I was playing against like a rogue or a mage, and I wanted to reflect the mage's frost bolts with the 10% chance or 20% chance, or I wanted to have more armor, so I have a little bit more longevity against a rogue on my ice armor, then I might pick this up. But in arena, I almost never get this. Improve frostbolt reduces the cast time of your frostbolt. This is a no-brainer. So you basically want to get this to reduce the cast time of your frostbolt and your rank 1 frostbolt, since it's such an important utility. Elemental Precision. This is a talent you can pick if you are not hit capped. So in PvP, you want 3% hit. 3% hit for PvP. If you don't have that on your gear, you can use this talent, but you shouldn't have to. In an ideal world, you have the hit on your gear and you don't need to pick it up. That being said, if you don't have the hit, you can get it, okay? But not an essential talent. Ice Shards. This increases the crit damage of your frost spells by 100%. This is incredibly important. It's a lot of damage, so you'll always get that. Frostbite gives your chill effects a 5% chance to freeze. So when you cone a cold, you use Blizzard, you use Frostbolt, your Frost Armor chills somebody, it has a chance to freeze them. This is really important, especially with Ice Lance, as using Ice Lance on frostbitten targets is a very mana efficient way to do damage, and also a really, really good way to do damage. So very, very important. You have Improved Frost Nova. This is a mandatory talent just because it unlocks Shatter. Permafrost increases the duration of your chill effects by 3 seconds and reduces their snare speed by an additional 10%. So this is another one of those talents I consider mandatory. Frost mages are all about snares, control, and this is just one of those things that allows you to do that. Piercing Ice. This increases your frost damage by 6%, 2 per talent point. Not an essential talent, but a very good talent. Most builds you will end up picking, but sometimes you need to not use it depending on what you want to do. Icy Veins, 100% essential talent. Hastens your spell casting, reduces the cast time by 20%. So this is an incredibly good talent. Basically, when you have Icy Veins up, you get no spell pushback. So if people are attacking you, it doesn't push your cast bar back for getting easy polymorphs, getting easy frostbolts off. In addition to that, it gives you haste. So a really, really strong talent. Improved Blizzard. Interestingly enough, back when people actually played Burning Crusade, like the original, this is a talent that never got picked, almost never got picked in Arena that I can remember. And now playing again, this is probably one of the most overpowered talents in literally the entire game. So what you do is you end up just using rank 1 Blizzard. So more often than not, almost always, pretty much always when you're in an arena or in a battleground, you're going to be using rank 1 Blizzard to snare people. This is an undispellable 75% snare. So you can't dispel it. 75% snare with permafrost. And it also procs frostbite. So if your priest is being trained down by some melee, you drop a blizzard on them, they're going to be getting snared, they're going to be getting frostbitten, and there's nothing they can do about it. So really, really, really super duper OP talent. I consider it 100% essential. Arctic Reach increases the radius of your Frost Nova and Cone of Cold spells, your Blizzard, and your Frostbolt. This is essential. Frost Channeling. A lot of people consider this just like a PvE talent. It makes your spells more mana efficient and also reduces threat. Not essential. Shatter, 100% essential. Makes you crit against frozen targets. This is basically, it's a staple in the Mage kit. Cold Snap resets the cooldown of your frost spells. Really, really strong. Ice Flows reduces the cooldown of your Cold Snap. Ice Barrier and Ice Block by 20%. So all those are really strong. Cone of Cold strong. Cold Snap is really strong. Ice Barrier is really strong. And Ice Block really strong. So definitely want the cooldown reduction on that. Frozen Core reduces damage taken by frost and fire. You almost never pick this. Improved Cone of Cold. In Classic, Improved Cone of Cold was really good because it was basically the way you shattered. You'd Nova someone, you'd Frostbolt and cone them. But now with Ice Lance, I would say this talent is almost obsolete. So unless you're playing a really, really heavy Frost build, I almost never pick this talent ever. So yeah, I would just avoid it completely. Then obviously Ice Bear is essential. Winter's Chill, I consider essential up to 3 points, but you can kind of, I would say 3 points is the minimum you want to put in Winter's Chill. Okay. And the reason for that is then basically my logic is the reason why Winter's Chill is good. Let me read it off. It gives your frost damage spells. So any frost spell you cast, it has the chance to apply Winter's Chill. It's a 60% chance with 3 talent points, basically 20 per point. If you have 4, it's 80. If you have 5, it's 100. If you have 2, it's 40. And that's how the math works. And it increases, let me see, it increases your chance to critically strike against the target with your frost spells by 2%. But what's really good about it, obviously the bonus crit is nice, but what's really good about it is its dispel protection. So if you're playing against like a paladin and a warrior and you rank 1 bolt the warrior, it's going to put up Frostbolt and hopefully it puts up Winter's Chill, and then you can polymorph. And now the paladin, instead of just dispelling polymorph, he has to dispel Winter's Chill, Frostbolt, and polymorph. And if you get lucky, hopefully he dispels the Frostbolt and the Winter's Chill first. So it gives you dispel protection in that way. I personally like a lot of points into Winter's Chill. There's some mages that don't value it that much, but I think it's incredibly important. And I can tell you right now, if you're playing against a priest or a paladin, they will feel, or a warlock, that's really good against warlocks too. Like if you're going to sheep like a warlock's healer, like a priest, for example, you need to get a rank 1 bolt on him or blizzard him and stack up the Winter's Chill. And that way, when he uses Devour, it has a lower chance to actually be an effective Devour on the polymorph. So I really value this. I think the dispel protection is really good. Like I was going to say, if you play against a warlock, a priest, or a paladin, they're going to tell you that, or maybe they won't tell you, but they definitely feel playing against like a mage that has a lot in Winter's Chill versus a mage that doesn't have it. So this is up to 3, I would say is mandatory in my opinion. Anything less than 3, I think I don't like the unreliability of it. And even 3 is a bit risque in my opinion. Next, you have Arctic Winds, really good talent, increases all your frost damage by 5%. So increases the frost damage of literally everything. Blizzard, Ice Lance, Cone of Cold, Frostbolt, everything. And also has a chance for melee and ranged attacks to miss you. So 1 per point, you can get up to 5% chance that like a kidney shot doesn't land, or an eviscerate doesn't land, or a pummel doesn't land, or a mortal strike doesn't land. And for me, or a viper sting doesn't land, I think it's really, really strong. And quite frankly, there's a lot of RNG in the Burning Crusade. And in my opinion, I gotta sneeze. Pardon me. In my opinion, it's nice to have some of that RNG go in your favor. So I really like this talent for a lot of different reasons. Like I said, game-winning spells can miss. An Eviscerate that would kill you could miss. A Kidney Shot that could kill you could miss. A Viper Sting that would you could miss. And you end up winning because of it. Plus, it just gives you overall frost damage. So I think it's strong. Empowered Frostbolt. Your Frostbolt spells gain an additional 2% of your bonus spell damage and increases their critical strike chance. And then, of course, Water Elemental, I would consider an essential talent. But this is kind of the main Frost template, okay? So I think any Frost build you're making in PvP starts with this. So this is your starting point, okay? And then from here, you can kind of customize, like, do I need a hit? Okay, I'll put one in Elemental Precision. Do I just want more Ice Lance damage? Okay, Piercing Ice. Do I want to be more mana efficient? Maybe I'll get Frost Channeling. Do I want more Dispel Protection? I'll put in Winter's Chill. Maybe I want my Frostbolt to hit really hard. Okay, we'll buff up that. Okay, the Arctic Winds seems pretty good. It buffs all my spells, and maybe a really good spell will miss, so I'm going to stack that. And those are the kind of things you have to think about when you're making the build that you want to make, okay? So before we go further in Frost, I want to quickly talk about Arcane. So a lot of people don't know how these talents actually work. Arcane Subtlety reduces your target's resistance to all your spells by 5. So you get 2 points in Arcane Subtlety. What that does is just lowers the enemy's resistance. So let's say you're playing against another mage and he has 20 frost resistance. If you have Arcane Subtlety, he now has 10 frost resistance. So it's just basically spell penetration for their resistance. It doesn't give you hit or anything like that. It just lowers their resistance, okay? Now Arcane Focus, on the other hand, is... the tooltip is confusing for a lot of people. So it says reduces the chance that an opponent can resist your arcane spells by 6%. Now this is basically the same as Elemental Precision, reduces the mana cost, and besides the mana cost, and it reduces the target's reduces the chance the target will resist your frost and fire spells by 1%. So this is basically like the bonus hit talent for Arcane. So if you are already at 3% hit, this doesn't really do anything, to be honest. But I think it's kind of like the standard play to go into it. And I'm trying to think if I can't actually think of anything off the top of my head where this would actually be like a useful talent. Like the more I think about it, I don't know why people don't just put the points here. I guess people are like, yeah, I want that insurance so my arcane spell doesn't, miss. But yeah, because I don't know if there's any talents in the game like Arctic Winds. Okay, so like Arctic Winds, for example, reduces the chance melee and range attacks will hit you by 1%. Theoretically, I think someone can out-hit that talent, and maybe there's talents that are like, reduces the chance arcane spells or reduces the chance spells hit you by whatever. So Arcane Focus, going over 3 of those is like an insurance policy, I suppose. Improved Arcane Missiles, not really as good as it was in Classic, and even in Classic I didn't really pick it up, but the fact that you have Icy Veins now, you have those reliable casts that aren't being pushed back, whereas Arcane Missiles in the past was kind of a way to maybe get off reliable casts if you had like a hunter and his pet casting on you. Like I said, I didn't really play that, but yeah. This is kind of like the standard for Arcane. Basically every mage in the game will go 2 and 3, and that unlocks the next talent tree. Now the next standard talent in Arcane, Arcane Concentration, 10% chance for clear casting, making spells free, really, really important. Basically, if you're using rank 1 bolt, you can get a clear cast, and then you get a full rank bolt. If you're using a rank 1 blizzard, you can get a clear cast, and then if you want to, you could use a max rank blizzard or a max rank frostbolt. Just really, really good utility. I have Cone of Cold rank 1 bound and max rank Cone of Cold bound, and I'll try to weave in Cone of Colds, like max rank Cone of Colds with my clear casting, because it's basically just free damage. Whereas normally in an arena, I don't want to go out of mana. Cone of Cold isn't necessarily the most mana efficient thing to use, so I try to only use rank 1 Cone of Cold for the snares and proccing Frostbite and stacking debuffs, but if I get a clear cast, I can use a max rank. So really kind of fun little thing you can do to weave in more damage with your free damage procs. Now from this point, there's one specialization. No one ever plays that. Magic Absorption, really cool talent. Increases your resistances, and when you do resist, it restores some of your mana. So I think this is a really strong talent. If you have a decent amount of resistance, and when you resist a spell, you'll end up getting a little bit of a mana refund, and also you just have a chance to make people resist spells. So definitely a strong talent. Arcane Fortitude, another really good talent, increases your armor. This is kind of like an automatic lock-in. There's a lot of classes doing physical damage to you, and for one talent point, the amount of armor you get is significant. So I think it's definitely worth picking up. Magic Attunement increases the effectiveness of your amplify and dampen magic spells by 25%, 50%. In 3s and 5s, this is not so good, but in duels and 2v2, if you're playing double DPS, this is good. So if you're someone who is only going to play Rogue Mage, and you like dueling, Magic Attunement can be really good, as basically it's going to buff your it's going to buff your dampened magic to, I wouldn't say significantly lower magic damage, but it will be, it ends up adding up over the course of the game. So it's basically just more damage reduction throughout the course of a game. And then you can put points in Magic Absorption. And then, of course, Improved Counterspell is really good. Mana Shield, you're not really going to mess around with. And Arcane Meditation is something you can play. So the standard build for Frost Mage is 17-0-44. As you basically just go up to Improved Counterspell, and then you have 44 talents for Frost, whatever you want, okay? Now, there is a build you can play where you actually go 20 Arcane. So you actually end up picking up Arcane Meditation. Okay, you pick up Arcane Meditation, and this allows you to regenerate mana while casting. So it gives you in combat mana regeneration. This can be a very, very effective talent. If you're playing like Mage Priest in 2s, really ups your longevity. Or if you're playing some sort of caster cleave, like you're playing Mage Lock Druid, and you feel like you have the potential to outlast your opponents, Arcane Meditation can really come in clutch, because once you go you're kind of, you're in rough shape. So if you can be very efficient with your mana, play Arcane Meditation, it is a way, although it's kind of a niche play style, it is, depending on the compositions you're playing, something that you can experiment with. So just keep that in mind. Arcane Meditation can be really, really good. So now that we kind of talked about these talents, I'm going to show you some builds and give you some examples of how these builds kind of work now that you understand the talents. Whew. And if you're still with me at this point, 17 minutes into the video, I would say give the video a like and say hello to me, because I honestly, I would be surprised if anyone was still here. But if you're here, cool. I'm really happy you guys are wanting to learn about this stuff, because I really do feel like there's a lot of customization in Classic, and you can really come up with a build that suits your own needs, okay? So let's close this. I have a bunch of builds prepared. Let me kind of look at them. So this is kind of the template I was showing you for Frost. Yeah, I have that locked in. And then from here, you can kind of decide like where you want to go. So this is an example of a build that I like playing in 3s. So if you look at the Arcane tree, because it's like a 3v3 build, I ended up going more Magic Absorption and not picking up Magic Attunement. And so I have 4 in Magic Attunement. I have Clear Casting, the 2-3 in Arcane Focus, 1 in Arcane Fortitude, 2 in Improved Counterspell. And then in Frost, what I decided to go with is I ended up maxing out Winter's Chill. Like I said, I really value having that Dispel protection. And also the bonus crit is not too bad either. If every single one of your spells is putting up this bonus crit debuff, it ends up adding up to a good amount more crit during the game. And then Arctic Winds, 5 out of 5. So this is, it's good for a couple different reasons. I mean, obviously, just the overall damage is nice, but you have to keep in mind Arctic Winds damage is less than Piercing Ice. So point for point, Piercing Ice, you're getting twice the value on the damage, but Arctic Winds, you're getting that RNG in your favor. So if you want to pray to the RNG gods, this can be a really, really good spec. Have that Kidney Shot miss, have that Viper Sting miss. The damage is definitely, it's a bit different, but it's not too huge. I would say this is still like a really, really solid build overall. So this is an option and a spec that I really like playing. An next example I'll show you. This one is a little bit more 2v2 focused. So because this is like a rogue mage build, for example. So I actually ended up going with magic attunement for this one. I dropped 2 talent points in magic absorption. So the idea is, I want to reduce damage taken on my rogue as well as myself. And then for frost, I went full piercing ice. So I sacrificed in Winter's Chill. So I only went up to 3, kept it there. And then I wanted as much ice lance damage as possible, as much frost damage as possible, really. So I buffed up piercing ice all the way, 6% bonus damage there. This is a very aggressive build. And then 4 in Arctic Winds. And if you wanted to, you could shift 1 out of Arctic Winds and put it into Winter's Chill. So, you feel free to shift those talents around, or you could even do 2 if you want to max it out. This is what I mean. You can really customize, like, do you want your Winter's Chill to always land? Is that something that you like? You can do it. If you want more damage, you can shift out. If you're comfortable with the 60%, you can shift out even more, okay? So another example of a build. And keep in mind, this is a build you could play in 3s also. But if you're playing in 3s, the one thing I'd shift is just go out of magic attunement, okay? And put in magic absorption. And then all of a sudden you have like a really nice 3s build that you could play, okay? Next up, we have... What do we have here? This is an example of like the mana efficiency build I was talking about. So if you're playing I'm trying to think, what are some interesting comps? So you could play like Priest Mage in 2s. This could be a possible build. A hunter composition I played on the beta quite a bit was actually Priest Hunter Mage. And that's one of those comps where you're kind of just controlling, you're draining. And I do see a world where, the mana efficiency really works out there. So you can kind of outlast and attrition your opponents. And you have freedom in your talents. So I actually went 1 in Frost Channeling here to make all my spells more efficient. You could totally dump that. So just get rid of that completely. And if you wanted to, put a point in Arctic Winds for more damage. Put another point in Winter's Chill for more damage, if that makes you more comfortable. So you just kind of experiment with those ones, move the talents around, but I just wanted to give you guys some examples of these things. The next build we have is a build I thought could be really, really good for like a caster cleave. So if you're playing a caster cleave where you actually feel like you can get off a lot of frostbolts, I picked up empowered frostbolt. So I could see this being really good in 5s too. Like if you're playing a comp that's like mage, warlock, rogue, for example, or any kind of basically comp where you can cast frostbolts, empowered frostbolt could be really strong, right? Because you get 4% bonus crit on your frostbolt as well as 8% bonus spell damage. Now I don't think it's worth going 5 out of 5 because piercing ice point for point I think is just more damage. So this is kind of like, all right, I decided to pick up piercing ice and I decided to pick up empowered frostbolt, and I didn't go into magic attunement because I'm playing 5s, right? And I don't really care about that. You're in 5s, for example, and 3s. The reason why you don't use it in 5s and 3s, if I didn't make that clear, is because you really only use rank 1 dampen magic or amplify magic. Using more than rank 1 amplify is a little bit risky because you're taking more spell damage. It can be good against certain cleave comps, but you have to kind of know what you're queuing into to utilize that. And then, dampen magic, obviously you don't want to reduce the healing coming in from your healer, so you only use rank 1. As it's really negligible, the effect it has, but it's an extra trash debuff, okay? But yeah, this is kind of like a build where I took the template and I was like, all right, I want a big frostbolt damage, so I pumped up piercing ice, I pumped up empowered frostbolt, and this is kind of what we have. But as you can see by the builds I show you, now that you kind of understand how the talents will work, you really can make a build that is kind of customized towards yourself. And yeah, I promised my stream that I would make this video. I know it's a long one. Hopefully this helps you guys out. And if you guys like the video, like I said, give it a like, leave me a comment. And if you could too, I would be really, really happy to see which of these builds I'd be really, really happy to hear which of these builds interest you, as well as what kind of direction you took your build. Like what comp are you going to play? What build are you going to play? And I'd be happy to, check it out. If you guys want to come say hello to me in my stream, twitch.tv/Venruki, of course. And happy trails on Tuesday. Good luck in the games. And we'll see you next time. Thank you very, very much for watching.